So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So my name is Robert, and I am the Director of Business Development and Franchising Operations for VF Franchise Consulting. I'm part of the team based here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and I will be your host for today's exciting event. And today we're privileged to be joined by some very distinguished guests from Wayne's, a unique European cafe brand from Sweden. Before we make our introductions to my two guests, I'd like to do a few housekeeping points and then take a couple of minutes to really explain what we at VF Franchise Consulting do. So for the past couple of weeks, we have been collecting questions from potential investors and franchisees. So we will not have a public Q&A or question and answer session at the end of our webinar, but we will be happy to answer any of your questions by email or by a follow-up call after. We will be also sending you some information by email to basically everybody who registered for the event today. So please keep an eye out in your email box for it, maybe even in your spam box. Now, our company at VF Franchise Consulting, we are focused on the Asian market. So our headquarters is here in Vietnam, and we basically cover about 20 countries from the Middle East, India, through ASEAN, down to New Zealand and Australia, and then all the way up to Japan and Korea. So that's our territory. And our headquarters is here in Vietnam, but we have partner offices actually in 6 countries now, I think, across the region. And our company does quite a few different things. We do a lot of project-based work. We do franchise training. We have 2 major divisions to our company. The first one really helps companies or brands prepare for and develop some sort of system like franchising so that they can use that channel to expand their business throughout their country and across the region. And our biggest division is our sales and marketing team, which is very active in finding qualified investors across Asia for our clients like Williams. And most of our clients are in the food and beverage, the retail, education, or fitness industries. And one thing that's kind of makes us a little unique is that we don't just accept anyone as a client. We're very selective in the clients that we represent, and we only take ones that we really feel like they have high potential right here in Asia. There's a lot of brands out there, even very successful brands, but it doesn't mean that they'll be successful in Asia. So we only really represent ones that we believe in. And we're pleased today to be here to discuss one of those high potential brands, Wayne's. Before we begin the interview, I'd like to share a short video about Wayne's, particularly focused on their exciting launch of their new branding about a year ago. Video, please. So that gives us a great, nice visual about the look and the feel of Wayne's. So now we're extremely happy to be both assisting Wayne's in their Asian expansion, but also in having 2 of their key members here with us today. So Mr. Joakim, their CEO of Wayne's, and Mr. Pelle, their head of expansion. Pelle, maybe we can start with you. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself and your job, and then maybe you can give us a 5-minute high-level overview of who Waynes is. Your microphone's off.
There you go. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having us. It's very exciting to be part of your introduction here to the Asian market. We are, as you know, already in Vietnam, so it's kind of a coincidence that we are working with you from there. So my role is head of expansion. I've been working with Waynes only for 6 months, actually. I started in December, and I'm very excited to be part of this amazing brand and the journey we're on. So very happy to be here and talking to potential partners. My history is actually within H&M. I have 15 years background with H&M, and then I've been working with Burger King and a brand called Dunkin' Brands. So I have quite huge experience from international franchising and development. But now I'm here and trying to continue the international growth with Waynes, which is very exciting and fun, to be honest. So it's a little bit about me. You want me to show a little bit the highlights of the brand?
Yes, please. So thank you for the introduction to yourself. And then let's have a look at what Waynes is.
Yes. All right. See if the technology works here. Do you see my screen now? Good.
Yeah, we see it. Looks good.
Sorry?
Yep.
Good. So Waynes is a Swedish coffee chain founded in 1994. So we've been in operations for 27 years this year. It's kind of the biggest franchise chain in the Nordics at the moment. It was founded by 4 friends back in 94, and it has been run as a family business up until 2018, actually. I will move the screen here if I can. I can't for some reason. Now I can't actually change the slide here. Do you see the same slide? Or?
Yeah, still the same slide.
There okay, now it worked. Sorry about that, technical issues. Yes, so we've been up and running since 1994. We were actually the coffee chain that served the first cafe latte in the Nordics. We are very focused on ecological coffee and pastry. So that's what we're very proud of. We've been doing franchising since 1997. And we've been international since 1999, actually. We started in Finland. Right now, we have around 150 shops in the world in 7 or 8 different markets. In 2018, we were acquired by a company called Tank & Rust, which is a company who are operating service station in Germany, and they have about 400 service stations all over Germany, and we are part of their brand now, and they also have the ownership of us. Operations is still run by the Swedish headquarters, so the Germans are supporting us with partly of strategy and also the financing, but we are pretty self-run operation. Yes. So this is how it looks today at Waynes. We have these 8 markets, 7 markets outside of Sweden. So we're in Germany, as I told you, with around 23 stores. Saudi Arabia, Vietnam has been a very successful market for us, which is extremely good, because we see that the concept works in different part of the world. So Saudi Arabia and Vietnam is good proof of concept, I would say, with also where we have been able to adapt the concept to different type of markets. So all in all, around 150 stores around the world today, looking at a lot of new markets, obviously, with both in Europe and in Asia and Middle East. When it comes to products, we are very serious about our coffee. Our coffee is kind of the #1 priority. We are very serious about that. We have a new actually partner now, a new coffee supplier, a Swedish one, who we are just starting to work with. They're called Löfbergs, and we have been working very close with them now to get the right blend and taste, and they are very supportive in this venture. So they also will be a part to actually quality test our products around the world and do both surveys and audits around all our coffee shops. We are focusing a lot on the organic food, but we're working mostly with local suppliers when it comes to the food. So our product team is working with our partner in each market in order to find the right products and suppliers. And then we try to adapt to the market as much as possible. We're very keen to adapt our products and our stores to the local market. We're working a lot on vegan and vegetarian food, and we're also very innovative, I would say, in terms of product development. We have developed quite a few own products. One is called Superchino, which is a vegan hot drink product, which is very exciting. But I think one of our main focus or strength is that we're really taking local adaptation serious. We think that in order to be successful in each market, you need to have a core product, and then you need to also be able to adapt to each specific market. You mentioned our new store design, Robert. This is some images of that. We're very proud of that. It emphasizes more on the Scandinavian touch than before, and it kind of stands out from the American typical coffee shops. It's more light and it's more lighter colors, I would say, but it's still very cozy and friendly to sit in. We also have developed a takeaway part, which is called Wayne's Market. It's a grab-and-go concept where we also have tied that to our app, so you can actually pre-order food and pick it up without passing the counter. So and we actually got a design award. We launched this in January 2020 or February 2020, and we got a design award this fall, actually, which we're very proud of. So it was a big success for us. And now we're rolling it out in both Sweden and our international markets. So why Wayne's? I would say there are several reasons for that. I think we've been up and running since '94, and we have very much know-how, and we've been also working internationally for over 20 years. So we have collected a lot of know-how and understanding about what it takes to become an international brand. We are kind of the most focused brand on organic, I would say. Organic coffee is a must, and we are fighting hard to get organic food as much as possible. We have a good and well-packaged system now, both for operations and follow-up. We have a quite, I would say, normally low investment, quick ROI. That's for Sweden. It differs from country to country, of course, but we have I would say, a good business model where you can grow fast and have a quick return on investment. And our support team is amazing. We have a great team for training and follow up and support and product development. So we're a really good partner to our franchisees. So we are looking for partners, of course, in different markets. So what's important for us when we look for new partners, I think there are a few key points that we're looking for. Somewhat experience from the real estate and the know-how, because we know how important it is to find the right real estate and to understand, the location, rent levels, etc. We think that it's a plus if you have food and beverage experience, but it's not a must, I would say. If you have other business experience, it might be enough. And the funding is important, of course. If you're going to grow, we need to be sure that you have the funds to grow in a certain pace, to take the market share and become a brand in the market. So I would say those are the three most important parts to become a franchisee for us. What about us? How is it to work with us at Waynes? I would say we're very Swedish, and we are kind of an honest type of business people, straightforward and curious. So you probably should appreciate that mentality working with Waynes as well. So that's a little bit overview from me regarding the brand. So I hope that clarifies a few things about the brand.
No, that was great. So concise, yet gave us a lot of information. I really like the look of your cafes. I have to say, when I look at those pictures, just those pictures in your presentation makes me want to go to Wayne's and have a coffee. So I really do like the new design.
Yeah, we do too. It's really good.
And I don't know about dealing with Swedish people. I'll let you know a little bit more down the line. How Swedish people are. Okay, so thank you very much for that introduction. That gave us a good overview. As I mentioned before, we've collected a wide variety of common questions that everybody asks us all the time about Waynes. And basically, I'm just going to put you two on the hot seat and ask everybody's questions, and let's see what happens. So maybe we'll start with our CEO, Joakim. Why don't you give us a short introduction, because I haven't asked you yet. Tell us about yourself just a little.
Yeah, my name, as you said, Joakim Carlsson. I'm the CEO of Waynes, and I've only been here for 2 months. In my last 9 years before this, I was the CEO of a Swedish franchise in fast food called Sibylla, with 160 restaurants in Sweden. And I've also had in Sibylla about 10 years as a franchisee with multiple restaurants. And I've also been chairman of the board of the Sibylla fast food franchise. So I have a long history in franchise and in fast food especially.
Well, that's great. So welcome to the Waynes team. We're happy to have you, and especially with your background. We want to grow Waynes to more than 160, though. We've got to get much higher than that. So, why, in your opinion, what makes Waynes kind of unique? What gives it its competitive advantage? What made you come over to Waynes to work?
Waynes has the combination of the Swedish fika history. Fika is where you not just have a cup of coffee, but you have a cup of coffee with something along with that, together with friends. And Waynes has also got the modern, healthy, and sustainable image. We also have the unique Scandinavian style when it comes to the new profile that you saw in the pictures. And we're also a very flexible concept when it comes to franchising. That means that we can adapt ourselves to the market where you are at, so we can find the best products for your guests.
And that's so important because as was mentioned by Pelle earlier, Sweden and the Middle East and Vietnam, for example, very different markets. So there are a lot of people are going to enjoy a good latte, a hot latte, but some of the food products and some of the specialty drinks is really going to vary. So it's nice to hear, and I think comforting for everybody that you have some flexibility. And speaking of the different regions, because our listeners are only from Asia, how does your brand do in our region? How does it do in Asia? And why do you think it's doing how it does?
Well, we have a sort of a proof of concept in Asia, especially in Vietnam, where we're very successful and we have a strong expansion plan as well. And what we learn in Vietnam is that our range of coffee drinks, both hot and cold, especially the cold hot coffee drinks, are very successful. And again, it's the flexibility that is one of the keys. And I also think that the Swedish design and Scandinavian touch is something that attracts the guests in Asia.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm not Asian, but I live here and I like it. So, but I always see your cafes quite full when I walk past. So, be working. So, any interesting news about Wayne's that you can share with us over the last year or a few years?
Well, I would like to pick up what Pelle said before. We just started a new collaboration with the Swedish coffee roastery called Löfbergs, who are the biggest buyer of organic coffee. So that kind of puts a statement where we are when it comes to organic and sustainability. But we also, Wayne's Coffee was awarded the Franchise System of the Year in Sweden in 2017. That was sort of a kickoff for expansion on more markets. And even if today we have an extreme situation with the COVID-19, we're still expanding and opening cafes. And that is one of the reasons is that we did a full brand audit and back to 2019, and we launched the new graphic, the profile and the brand book in 2020, actually January, February 2020. And then to roll out that, it was a lot of interest in the markets. So that would be like the new interesting thing. In Sweden, we also have we've launched a POS system who is connected to, fully integrated with an app solution. So you can order from an app and collect numbers and so on. So we're digitally also ahead of us. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's great. So it's nice to hear that you're not just standing still or kind of went to sleep for 2020 when we were all kind of affected by the COVID situation. So, and I think the organic element, I think it works well for you. I haven't told you to this yet, but just this morning I was on a call for about an hour with a client, a business who you'll be hearing about soon, actually, but they only wanted an organic cafe chain. And he said they searched and searched and searched, but they want something that is environmentally friendly and focused on that, and that had organic coffee and products. And they were quite excited when they saw some of our social media advertising about Wayne's. So we'll be talking about that separately. So I think you touched on it already, Joakim, but anything else you have to say about that branding change? Really, why did you do it, or how was it really received? We got to see it. How are the customers and the franchisees, accepting those changes?
Well, we felt that we needed an update when it comes to our brand look and the graphic profile to further stand out from the competitors, and also to sort of put a more increase in the values of Wayne's and the connection to Sweden and Swedish design. And together it was fairly a long process together with partners and a lot of surveys with guests and franchisees. What do they want from the concept? It's not just a question of colors and details. It is also a question of running the business in an efficient way as a franchisee. So you're efficient behind the counter. And the new brand book was launched in 2020, as I said, and it's been awarded a prize in design industry. Both international and national franchisees are really proud of it. The new lighter design, we also get a lot of positive comments from guests as well.
And that's really what's important, right? Is the guest's opinion. So I'm glad that your guests have really appreciated the new design. I sure like it. This was good, but this one is definitely better. So, well, thank you. Maybe I'll turn my attention over to Pelle for a few minutes so he doesn't feel left out. Pelle, I'm going to ask you the tough question right from the beginning. You know, that 2020 was a tough year for most of the world. So can you tell me some of the things that your company faced last year and maybe even into the beginning of this year? And what did your company do to kind of overcome those challenges?
Yes, I mean, as I told you earlier, I started in December of 2020, so I wasn't part of the team back, early days during the COVID, but I know there was a big challenge, of course, when it hit in Sweden, and there was meetings every day to just try to figure out how to support our franchisees. So when I joined, it was also very exciting because although we were in the middle of a pandemic, we were still going full ahead with our expansion, which was kind of a unique, I would say, and due to our strong owners in Germany, they wanted to take the opportunity to grow even though the times were tough. So we have been focusing parallel to supporting our existing franchisees and also growing with new partners and opening new stores. So it's been quite of a balance. So I would say a lot of focus on just, we've been talking to landlords to get rent reliefs, etc. At the same time, we've been working very hard to open new stores. So it's been an interesting balance. And to start a new job during these times has also been, of course, a bit challenging because, our office was closed and, it's much more, digital meetings, etc. So, and working internationally, it's difficult to travel right now. So it has been some challenges, of course, but we're still doing pretty well, I would say.
Well, that's good to hear. I think when companies survived last year, that was a positive thing. And I know that you guys were still looking for expansion. I deal with a lot of different brands and a lot of different potential investors across the whole region. And, there are companies who are right now taking opportunities that didn't exist before. Now rents are cheaper. Locations that you could never get in 2019 are now available. Those spaces have opened up. There's good quality staff available for hire in a lot of region, all across the region that wasn't. So, I think that a brand like yours that didn't stop, that is still going full steam ahead, we get some partners that have that view of taking this advantage. I think we can find some good partnerships together.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you like about Wayne's? How do you think it stands out, from all of the world's cafe chains?
Well, I don't know all the chains in the world, but I know Wayne's now, and I love different things about it. I love the company culture. I love, how people are working, and we call ourselves a kind of a good guys company, and I really think we are. We're talking also about the sustainability. For us, it's not just about the ecological coffee or recycling of cups, etc. It's also about sustainable business. So we're really keen on making sure that our franchisees are healthy and that they're making money. I think that's, to me, one of the strongest parts with Wayne's that I like a lot. And then, when it comes to the product, I think the Scandinavian heritage is really, fun to bring out to the world because I think it's quite attractive. We have great coffee. And one more thing that I really like, which I think differs from some other chains, is that I think we're more flexible in terms of market adaptation. I think, we are much more open to work with our partners in order to find what's best for them and what's best for them and to make money. And we are doing everything to make them, successful. That's what I like a lot about Wayne's, actually. I've been working for bigger corporations where there's a different mentality, I would say. So
Yeah, for sure. So let's really talk about the business development now. What do you find the biggest challenge for new franchisees when they try to bring Wayne's into the market?
Well, I think it's hard to say one thing, but one thing that I know is that it's very important to find the right real estate early on in the process to be able to kind of actually become a brand with a buzz around it. So, and also there is a question about the pace of opening. So if you're opening too slowly during a period, you're not going to get the market impact that you need to become a brand. So I think with the right locations and of course having the right staff and service level is key, I would say. So for us, that's what we need to make sure when we find a partner, that they have the mindset of the service, because in the end that can make all the difference. If you don't have the right service level, it doesn't matter if you have a great product, I think. So that, I would say, I don't know if it's the biggest challenge, but it's, I think, the most important anyway. So.
No, those are two very important things. Now, those two things are kind of on the franchisee side. So the knowledge of real estate and a good, strong team. What kind of support do you give to your franchisees? Like, what can a new franchisee expect from you, especially at the beginning?
So we are having quite a very extensive kind of program for all new franchisees. A training program in Sweden for 3 weeks, where we also have the kind of get to understand the whole company and all the different departments and all the systems. Then we have also, of course, we have our team coming to the market to do all the sourcing and the product development and the design and all of that. So we are focusing a lot on a new partner to set them up for success, I would say. So both, training in Sweden, and then we have a support team before the opening and during the opening and after opening to make sure that they, gets everything right. Once they're open, of course, we have regular meetings and also audits or follow-up meetings. Now it's been kind of canceled due to the COVID, of course, but in a normal world, I would say we will come for visits 2-3 times a year and support our franchisees with their business or product development or whatever problem they have. So it's really a partnership where, if they're happy and successful, we're going to be happy and also successful, of course. So it should be a win-win.
I'm glad you feel that way. You're right. It's like a marriage almost. It's a partnership.
It is.
It is. And
it really
both sides have to win.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think that covers that. Now you have quite a wide variety of menus and products. And of course, they all have their, ingredients. Can you explain to the potential franchisees, what do they have to buy from Wayne's or from other sources? And then what can be sourced locally?
Well, basically, I would say today the only mandatory product, food product, is the coffee, actually, that they will have to buy from our roastery, and that's because of a quality assurance and so on. All other products right now we source locally, and reason for that is also our way of thinking sustainable, because we think it's better to support, local suppliers, and also in terms of transportation, etc. We do, however, have our own standard recipes for our core products. So I would say, depending on the market, but normally, we maybe have 60% is our core products, and then 40% might be local adaptations or so. That might also differ from different market, but that's how we would like to see it. And but again, they're all locally sourced, so we're not shipping stuff from Sweden to to Asia, except for the coffee, of course.
Okay. Well, that's sure going to help the franchisees' cost of goods. So, that
it does. Yeah.
Core product, of course, you want to supply, make sure that it's that Wayne's taste. So I think makes good sense. We're talking about one cafe. What do you think that it costs to open one cafe?
Well, it's quite of a hard question, because it's so different from different markets. In average, in Sweden, it's around 150 to 180,000 US dollars to open a cafe. That includes also construction work, interior and equipment, etc. Different market, I would say it shouldn't be more than that in Asia normally. And also, when we talk about that, we are helping our partners to source, equipment and also the interior locally. So we don't ship stuff from Sweden with high costs, etc. So we are working locally there as well, and depending on labor cost and etc. that might change, but I would say that's the range we're in Sweden, and that's also for 150 square meter cafe.
Okay. So about 150 square meter cafe, about 150 to 180,000 US dollars. That sounds right. So you're not requiring a lot of expensive equipment or expensive decoration.
We're still working on finding the best way. It's a balance between having a very nice place and also the economics to the franchisees. So we're very aware of that, and we're working hard to make the best for our partners, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about what you're looking for in a partner. I understand that you're looking for mostly territory developers or area developers, but can also consider a master franchise agreement. So when we talk about the agreement itself, why can't somebody just open one Wayne's? I just want to be a single unit. I want to open a cafe near my house.
You can if you move to Sweden, Robert. That wouldn't be a problem. So then you can have one coffee shop. It would be very hard for us to manage, to be honest, to have single franchisees internationally, of course. So we do, however, when we work with master franchisees, normally they give the opportunity for sub-franchising. So you could maybe become a franchisee to our master if they think you're good enough, which I don't know, but I'm sure you are. And then when it comes to area developer versus master franchisee, I think what we normally would like to see is a master franchisee who is developing their own stores at the beginning, so we get kind of a feel for that they know what they're doing and that they are setting the standards. Potentially, we would allow them to open with sub franchisees as well, if we think that's a better way to expand faster and but still in a good way. So that's how we look at it now. Nothing is 100% written in stone at this point, but that's how we see it at the moment.
Well, I think that makes sense. To allow single unit franchisees in Thailand or Indonesia or Philippines, for example, you guys just wouldn't be able to handle it. It wouldn't. But I think from their side as well, you don't make a lot of money when you're, opening one unit of almost anything, especially a cafe or a restaurant. You need some of that scale
Yeah,
to cover
and for us,
costs.
yeah, that's true. And for us to actually to set up a country, it takes a lot of resources and time and money. So it wouldn't make sense to open up one store somewhere in the world. It would make we put a lot of effort into market entry. So we want to make sure that kind of is a potential to grow. In the long run.
Good. So, you mentioned it a little bit in your presentation, but can you review maybe the top couple of criteria that you're really looking for? How you would qualify whether a group is, would make a franchisee for Wayne's?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, you would like to have someone who has some kind of a food and beverage experience. I think, though, that our system and our support makes it possible even for someone who hasn't been, in the food and beverage industry before. But of course, it's easier, I would say. So it's definitely a plus if you have that experience. I think one part that might be overseen or overlooked sometimes is the knowledge about the real estate industry, because it might be quite tricky to find the right locations and understanding, rent levels and what you can demand as a tenant. So I think that knowledge we want the partner to have. Some kind of access to decent real estate, I think, is important. If you have a understanding about franchising as a plus, of course, because there are possibilities and limitations within franchising. So you have to be an entrepreneur who wants to do things, but you also have to understand there are certain limitations since we're a brand. So that's always the balance. You want someone who's really eager to develop and do things, but within some limitations, of course. So one thing that I actually thought about lately is communication skills. I think English, if we're going to work with a partner, the language is quite important. So we need to have, a certain level of communication or English skills, I would say, to be honest. Although we might learn some other languages if we have to.
Well, at least you're not asking them to learn Swedish, right?
No, that's very difficult.
Yeah, no, being able to communicate, with
Yeah, I think so. I think that's important, actually. And I know also the difficulties when that doesn't work. So that's why I'm actually saying that. So, and another part is, of course, to have, the funding to actually to develop the market in a certain pace. We're not pushing our partners to develop too fast, because I know, working with other big brands, that they might, want them to grow too fast, which is not healthy. So, but we want them to be able to grow in a certain pace, in order to get the market traction. So enough funding. What that is depending on the market, but we want to feel comfortable that they're not going dry after 2-3 stores, and then we're stuck there with a partner who doesn't develop the market the way we had hoped for. So yeah, but again, I think we are less aggressive in that term, when looking at the development schedules, etc., than I would say most other brands. We want them to grow because they want to grow, not because they have it written in a contract.
Right. Well, that's good. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that gives an idea of what you're looking for. Now, we cover a lot of territory, so people on this call, they can come from all over. You can't be too specific. Mm-hmm. At a kind of a high level, what can you tell us about what your fees look like?
All right, so we do have a territory fee or a market entry fee, which is a little bit depending on the market size. It's hard. I can give you a range. Maybe depending. Say the range is between 150 and 500,000 US dollars or something, depending on the market size. Then we have a monthly royalty and marketing, as most other has, so 5% royalty and 1% marketing fee, and that's the central marketing where we give them access to all the campaign material and social media, images, etc. So that's the kind of the central. We don't have any demands on local marketing spend, which most other brands has. So this is just for so it's 5+1, and then we have a unit fee, which is normally 10,000 US dollar per opening. That's the general numbers, to be as general as possible.
Sure. No, I think that's pretty good. Obviously, depending on the territory, that territory is going to be larger or smaller, but at least we know. So they're looking at a total of 6% of gross sales, marketing and the royalty fee, and 10,000 per unit as a unit fee. So that that's a reasonable number.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to Joakim for a second. Joakim, I want to stop looking at the past. I want to look a little bit to the future. What can you share with us about the future roadmap for Waynes? I mean, you've just become the CEO, taken the reins. Where are you taking this brand?
Oh, we have an excellent platform to start from. We have a good franchise system that works on all over the world, and then we also have the new brand book and the new interior design. We're going to continue roll out that on our existing markets. In our plan is also to expand on 2 new markets globally every year. So since of the pandemic, it's halting a little bit, but we have a strong expansion plan for the future. And as soon as the restrictions are lifted in countries, we see we're ready for takeoff. And we can also see that our existing master franchisees in the countries that we already are at are having negotiations of a lot of expansion. So we will see a lot of expansion plans for the next few years, yes. And I also would say one thing more, that we're not only collaborating with the biggest organic grocery and one of the biggest in the world, but we also have a collaboration now with Swedish chef organization who will help us to take out new products when it comes to sandwiches and salads. And so that will even strengthen the connection to Swedish food and fika even more. And so that's what we're going to see in the future.
Great. Sounds good. So I'll look forward to some of those new menu items coming to Vietnam here soon. So I mean, it's nice that we have a plan to move forward, and I think that's important and very positive. Do you have anything to add about that, Pelle? What do you expect out of your team and in the next year or 2 years?
Well, I wanted to connect with what Joakim said as well. What is quite interesting is, even though we've been in a pandemic, we have had actually, with our Vietnamese partner, we signed an extended development agreement actually in the middle of the pandemic, which proves that, we're still growing despite the challenging times we're in. We have strong owners who wants us to grow the brand, and I see a lot of growth. We want to open new markets, we want to find partners, of course, but we also are very we're very keen on finding the right partners, I would say, someone who understands us and who wants to work with us. So we are during the recruitment process, it's a little bit dating kind of a situation where both have to like each other. It's not just for them to like us, we need to feel good about them, etc. So it's really like entering a marriage somehow, because you're going to be stuck together for a long time. So you rather have a good time during that time.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of development, of course, it's just, it's exciting to enter new markets and to see, our brand spreading around the globe. But, in a healthy way. I don't think we can open as many markets as we want every year. So I think if we can open 2-3 new markets every year, that's going to be enough work for all of us to be busy. So that's basically what I see. And also trying to roll out the new concept. Of course, we need to be very careful and see, that it fits to all markets and adapt it if needed as well, of course. So we're not going to be, stubborn and stuck with things that doesn't work, because we're, again, it's partnership and we need to make them successful, our partners successful in order for us to be successful and happy. So, yeah.
Okay, good. So I think I just have one more question, and that's kind of about the process from here. So let's say some of the groups listening to this webinar are interested in moving forward. From today, what does the process look like?
Okay, so the recruitment process, that's something that I've been looking through now since I started in December, and see something that works in a good way and where you kind of go through all the needed steps. So we have a very clear and transparent process that we're actually sharing with the partner right from the beginning, and say, okay, these are the steps that we go through, and that's the kind of the recruitment process. I don't know if I need to go through it step by step, but it's basically to get to know each other in a good way, and for the potential partner to have the right expectations, on what they can expect from us, and for us to understand that they can become a good partner for Wayne. So it's everything from looking at the numbers, like a P&L situation, understanding maybe the salary levels in the local market, or what about rent levels, etc., for us to kind of be able to vet the market properly and see what are the challenges and opportunities there. We're looking also, of course, a little bit about the competition and how to fit into the market. So we are also doing our kind of market research and background checks on those things. So we're going through the process, and sending back and forth some documents, and hopefully, at some point we have some kind of understanding where we want to move forward. Then, if times permits, we would then come to visit the market, and hopefully, in the end, sign some agreement. And normally it's a 10 plus 5 year agreement for international markets. And after that, the whole next process starts, everything from training and
we don't have to talk about that yet. So,
but yeah, we have a pretty clear process, and I think it's quite thorough, but it's quite fast, to be honest. If we're not going to drag on, we go pretty fast forward with things, and then it can be pretty quick to get through.
Okay, so just to add a few little details, as we contact you after this webinar, we will provide you some additional information about Wayne's. And then I will also, if you have some interest, our company will actually send you an application form and a non-disclosure agreement, just so we know who we're dealing with. And that's really the two requirements for that private one-on-one call with the Wayne's team, where we kind of see if your ideas and these two guys' ideas and the rest of their team kind of fit, and it looks like a good partnership. So that's kind of the immediate next step. Thanks, guys. Our time is basically up. But on behalf of the VF Franchise Consulting team and all of our listeners, we'd like to thank both of you for joining us today, sharing some great information about this amazing brand. Also like to thank you both for joining the Wayne's team. Look forward to some exciting things from both of you, and we look forward to having some franchisees to work with you in some new markets. Now, for everybody that's listening, due to the attendees being from across the region, we weren't able to cover all of the specific details about the brand and your particular market's requirements. But please look out for our follow-up emails. Send back your questions or set up another call with me and our team, and we can get into some of the details so that you have all of the information that you need to decide if this is the right investment for you and your company. So again, thank you guys very much. Thanks to my two panelists. And this really concludes our webinar today. So have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you
later.
And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joakim. Have a great day.
Thank you too.